Hi, my name is Meg Edwards and I'm a GTD coach, and today I wanted to continue the conversation about projects. I really rely on my project list. And one of the reasons why I like my project list and I rely on it so much is because one of the things I learned from David many years ago was how to be able to take a problem and an issue and transform it into what is the successful outcome and what is the next action to try to possibly maybe resolve the problem. And on page 163 of the Getting Things Done book, the 2015 edition, I want to read this little paragraph. It says this: when is a problem a project? Always. When you assess something as a problem instead of something to simply be accepted as the way things are, you are assuming there is a potential resolution. Whether there is or not might still need to be determined, but at the very least, you have some research to do to find out. Look into improving Frederick's relationship with his school, resolve situation with landlord and building maintenance, and get closure on compensation dispute with business partner are the kinds of very real projects that you might resist defining as such. When you actually do put words to it, put it on your list and create a next action for it, you will surprise yourself with a new level of elegance in the stress-free productivity game. Ain't that the truth? Now, I have to say that one time I had a problem and issue with a family member, and I put it on a someday maybe list, and I slept like a baby that night. It was so pulling at me. And, even though David says, when is a problem a project? Always. I put mine on a someday maybe list. And then kind of a couple of months later, I actually then turned it into a project with a next action. And so one of the things that I think is so interesting is that in the Ready for Anything book, this is the why I find you do the mechanics of this, of the Getting Things Done book. This is how to operationalize it. And I wanted just to tie these two together, when is a problem a project? And I wanted just to read you this first paragraph in David's introduction, which is called Making It Easy to Take It Easy in the Ready for Anything book. This is what David says. Maximum productivity is making something happen, furniture, freeways, or fun, with as little effort as possible. The fact that we have effort at all, though, implies that we confront resistance and impediments when we want to get anything done. Improving productivity has a lot to do with dealing more effectively with the hindrances, barriers, and distractions that show up in our way. Anything that opposes or weakens our forward motion. In a totally frictionless world, everything would just appear as soon as it was imagined. There would be little need to train for greater flexibility and focus or to install better systems and approaches. In the world you and I inhabit, however, to really get what we want most effectively, we have to be ready for anything. And there are things we can do anytime that makes it easier to take things in stride and stay on course. I remember having a conversation with Annie, my daughter. She was 17 years old, and she came to me with a pretty hefty problem. And as the GTD mom, I said, Annie, we don't live in a frictionless world. And she looked at me without missing a beat and said, that is the most depressing thing to hear at 17. And I still remember that. And we actually still talk about that. She and I do. When she's bumping up against friction, she remembers that conversation. And she has gotten really good at what is the next action. She doesn't quite, capture projects sometimes in that way. But she does capture the next action to resolve it and to move it forward than just sitting and worrying and wanting it to go away or wanting it to disappear or wanting it to go under the rug. And, being with David for so many years at the David Allen Company, it was just pretty stunning to watch David just be the master of pivoting when a problem and issue showed up and just really sitting there and doing the outcome thinking and the next action thinking. And I'm so grateful for that because living the big lives that we're living, we're bumping up against problems and issues all the time. And sometimes they're really great problems to solve. I don't always look at a problem as something that's, doom and gloom. It could be these wonderful opportunities for, work or personal or whatever that may be. That's my little gem for today. And I just invite you to think about what might be those problems and issues that you've just been trying to manage in your head. And what about transforming that and putting that on your project list with the next action and see what happens? I would love to hear from you about what that was like for you. Is there a problem and issue that you didn't even think that you would put that into your GTD system? I am so appreciative of you joining this journey of celebrating David's celebration of the Getting Things Done book being, 25 years. So thank you and have a wonderful rest of the day. For more GTD resources, please visit gettingthingsdone.com and David Allen's YouTube channel. For more information on GTD coaching, please email us at info@gtdfocus.com or visit our website at gtdfocus.com.